Thank you so much.
Welcome back to Premier Guitars. Adam here with my compadre Jordan Thomas in the Sydney showroom, and today we have a wonderful guitar to show you, one of Fender's finest, 1954 Blackguard Telecaster, all original. This thing is just magic, sounds, plays, looks amazing. Tell us what you think, Jordan.
This is an incredibly cool and important instrument, this one. You know, one of the first production solid body electric guitars. You know, obviously Fender came out in 1950 with the Esquire, which was the first successful production solid body guitar. By 1954, it was pretty obvious that solid body electrics were here to stay, and this being the flagship of that whole concept, the Blackguard Telecaster. You know, very, very cool.
So what's like a basic history of these Telecaster models? It sort of started off as the Esquire, is that right?
Yeah, 1950 the Esquire came out, which was the single pickup, pine-bodied slab that looked very much like this. Initially it came out as a black instrument with a white fiber pickguard. They didn't make too many of those. Pretty soon they came along with the Broadcaster, which was the two pickup version of the Esquire, which also had a truss rod. The early Esquires did not have a truss rod. Broadcasters did. Long story short, Broadcaster, it was a hit. People liked them. Gretsch didn't like them. They sent Leo a letter saying, hey, you can't call your guitar a Broadcaster. We already have a drum kit called a Broadcaster. That's illegal. So they clipped the name Broadcaster off the logo, and it just said Fender from there on out.
And that's the birth of the No-Caster, yeah?
Yeah. Which, again, they made bugger all of those, 400 odd No-Casters, until Don Randall came up with the name Telecaster. Television being all the rage, and people wanted to get on that TV bandwagon, so you get a Fender Telecaster and you'll be a hit.
Great. And the Blackguard. So what's so interesting about a Blackguard?
Well, a Blackguard is the term Blackguard is symbolic of the early Telecasters, No-Casters, Broadcasters from 1950 to 1954. It was a very, very important time for Fender. This was when they were just starting out. They were a tiny little company in 1950, predominantly making radios and repairing radios and making slide guitars. But 1950 came along. They started making solid body electric guitars or Spanish guitars, and they realized they were onto something good. And so these first 4 years of the Telecaster is important for that reason. It's the first successful production solid body instrument.
And you were saying that in those 4 years, because of the size of the company and because of its, growing production techniques, these are all basically handmade, and each one is slightly different due to that.
Yeah, they vary quite a bit in those years, because everything is hand finished. The radiuses of the necks are all subtly different. By 1954, they started to become a consistent 7 1/4 inch radius neck. But before that, it was a little bit here and there. The neck profiles themselves vary quite a lot. 1953 being the thickest, the baseball bat neck, as it were. But in 1954, which is what this one is, they slimmed down a bit. It's got a bit of a soft V profile, this one. And it's an incredibly comfortable thing to play. Really, really nice thing to play.
Yeah. And what would you say with regard to these early Teles? the pickups, what's the configuration of the tone and volume and all that sort of thing in the switch?
Well, there's a few iterations of the wiring in the early 50s. They changed a little bit throughout those first few years. In 1954, commencing in late 1952, they had this situation where you go to deep rhythm, sort of very warm, top end rolled off in the neck with the first position. Then if you go in the middle, you have the neck position by itself with a tone. And then in the bridge, you have, in the third position, you have the bridge with the tone.
Right, okay.
In 1952, and this is where it gets a little bit confusing, in 1952 and earlier, they didn't have a tone knob. This wasn't a tone knob, this was a blend knob. So if you were to flick that into the bridge position and work this knob, you'd actually be blending in the neck pickup rather than affecting the tone of just the one. So, yeah, it's a pretty useful setup this way. The modern pickup wiring that 90-something% of Telecasters are these days didn't come out till 1967. So it was a while before the middle position being both pickups and having tone across all three was a thing. Quite a while.
But still, there's plenty of tonal variety in an instrument like this.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can, I believe, you can get, if you just get the pickup in the right spot, the selector in the right spot, there's your both pickups. And as you can hear, it kind of sounds like a duck, got a bit of a quack to it. That's because they're out of phase. I think it was James Burden. Who used to use that sound quite a bit when he's playing with Ricky Nelson in the early days of rock and roll.
Yeah, cool. So with this beautiful Tele, is there anything else that sort of stands out to you that's worth noting? Possibly is it one-piece body?
Well, I think that it might be. I don't know for sure, and I wouldn't stake my life on it.
You can't really see.
Normally, they're usually very well blended, the pieces of wood, and the way that the top is, the whole body is painted, it usually conceals joins quite well. But if you look hard enough, you can usually find a join. But I cannot, for the life of me, and I've looked at this guitar for a long time, I can't see a join anywhere on it. So it could be a one-piece body, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
A one-piece.
That's super special in
Blackguard Tele
yeah.
is a incredibly cool bit of kit,
That's so cool. And on the pickguard there, on the Blackguard, what's going on there with that this area here?
Well, the pickguard's made of phenolic resin, but it was also lacquered over with nitrocellulose. And because of that lacquer over the top of the pickguard, this bit where your hand rests just kind of wears away at that nitro. Because nitro is not a very strong or particularly hard-wearing paint. And so that just kind of wears a bit of that.
Because you certainly see that on some of they try to replicate that fairly commonly on the relic jobs, don't they?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, one other thing to mention, George, the case. This Tele comes with its original Poodle Fender case. Now, it's seen better days, as you can see. But the tape has been lovingly applied, so it's still in one piece, But these things are super rare. Only made for, a year?
Yeah, within the span of a year, from mid-53 to mid-54. Made of bits of real poodle, so you know it's good. Yeah, hardly any exist. They're really thin on the ground.
Right. And
it's original to this guitar as well. So
yeah. Well, guitars such as these only come up every now and then here at Premier Guitars, so when we got this one in, we were extremely excited, as you can imagine. The owner is in love with this wonderful guitar, but has decided that he is going to move it on. So if you do have any questions or any interest in this guitar, please feel free to get in touch with us. You can give us a call, get in touch with us through the website, or drop us an email. We have a beautiful demonstration done by Jordan available, similar to that. And make sure you get in touch, because these things don't last too long, especially of this quality. But thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.
Really? Second last note?